The heart of parenting lies in the connection we share with our children. Greetings, dear televiewers, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Women's Voice on DMR TV, a platform where we come to amplify the voices of women, to make their remarks, to make remarks about the things they do and how to empower these women to continue with the good work they are doing in our society on a daily and in the lives of others out there. And that is why today we came up with these panelists this day to talk on purposeful parenting, building strong parent-child bonds. We want to see how parents, mothers, fathers can build a strong bond with their children, how purposeful mothers, fathers can be in the growth of their children. And of course, when we're talking of parenting, it's not about raising children. It's not just about raising these children. It's about making them to become the adults they will be or they are today. So when we talk of parenting, we are looking at long-term goals that parents set for their children to become better individuals in the society, to become remarkable persons in the society, to become very, very good persons in the society. So today we came up with these panelists to talk on this purposeful parenting, how parents can be purposeful in guiding their children through their lives. Of course, what the do's and don'ts of parents, how parents can actually not spare the rod and spoil the child. So today we have on panel Madam Sylvia Elive, who is a psychologist and a community activist for mental health. Good evening, madam, and thanks for joining us today.
Good evening, Magdalene. Good evening, televiewers. Thank you for another opportunity for us to learn and be heard.
Okay, and we also have with us here Mr. Luma, who is a parent and he is a teacher. He's been dealing with kids for the past 8 years plus. He's the director of Bright Beginnings Nursery and Primary School. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us today.
Good evening, televiewers. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Madam Wonder, and it's a pleasure to be here again.
It is a pleasure indeed to be on Women's Voice on DMR TV. And of course, we also have Madam Dakwe Mercy, who is a parent, a teacher, and of course, a mental health advocate. Good evening, Madam, and thanks for joining us today.
Good evening. Thank you, and good evening to televiewers. It's my pleasure to be here.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to be on Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. And of course, I am your humble host, Magdalene Wondo. We're going to be diving straight away to a discussion of the day. When we talk of purposeful parenting, maybe Madam Elive, you want to tell us, when we talk of purposeful parenting, what are we talking about? What are we trying to bring out today?
Thank you for giving me the floor. When I got the topic purposeful parenting, I immediately looked out to synthesize what the topic is all about. And from my understanding, I came to understand that there is a missing link between being intentional and not being intentional. But at the end of the day, we still do parenting. Now, when we look deeply into purposeful parenting, now we are looking at people who are mindful in raising children. They're intentional about raising children. Children being theirs or not, but being children, they're intentional about raising them. Now, I'm looking at where parents are moving from being reactive parents and be proactive parents. Not being judgmental, but struggling to understand what the child means. How can I understand this child from this child's perspective? That's what being intentional in parenting means to me.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Sylvia. But also, when we talk of, you mentioned already being reactive and proactive parents. So, Madam Dakwe, maybe you want to enlighten us a little on when we talk of reactive and proactive parents, what is the difference we're trying to create?
Okay, the difference we are trying to create here is, when we talk of being intentional, is when you already had that intention, or you've already taken upon yourself to be a parent, so you already know what it entails. But being proactive is when you have but some specific or temporary intention of keeping a child. You don't have that long-term goal. You don't see any need to develop in a child. You are there as a parent just for a moment. But if we talk of intentional parenting, meaning you have already taken upon yourself to be a parent, and you know what it entails to be a parent, you know what you need to give your child, you know what the community expect from your child, you have expected goals, that you have objectives to put down so that that child should be a better version in the society. But being proactive is just for a moment. Maybe you're just called upon to take care of a child for a moment. You don't have anything as long term to do with that child. You're just there to look into the child's well-being as a temporary parent.
Okay.
So that's what I see as being reactive.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Dakwe. And you know, there is this saying that parents or mothers always spare the rod to spoil their children. They say mothers always pamper their children a lot, and they tend to spend more time with these children. Of course, they get to understand these children more. So, Mr. Luma, maybe you want to share with us some of the purposeful parenting tips you share or you use at home with your child, and of course in school, because you being a teacher, you're also parenting those children. When their parents do their role or they do their parts at home, they send their children to school, of course, for you to also contribute to their upbringing. So what are some of those tips that you use to bring up these children?
First and foremost, I would like to say that this topic will not be weightier or heavy if we put aside the spiritual aspect of parenting children. Because in as much as parenting a child is concerned, life in itself is somehow influenced by the spiritual, spiritual aspect. And thank God we are on a religious platform. So I would say that the first thing is look at parenting children from a spiritual aspect. What are the expectations of God? What are the expectations as a Christian mother, as a Christian father? And then from that perspective, you'll be able to guide your steps, to guide your decisions, to guide everything that has to do with you parenting that child. Because children, on our own, we can never parent children to be the best. So we need the help of God in parenting our children. Most parents who have put God aside, they have said, okay, we are going to parent, we are going to, train our children on our own. We have seen it practically in our society, how children or parents who have put God aside in helping children grow up in the right citizens they should be, they have gone astray. Because the most important aspect has been deliberately, or maybe in some cases, ignorantly kept aside. So I would say the fundamental tool that I've been using, which I am using, and which I will use continually, is the Bible. So at this point, I will.
Thank you very much, Mr. Luma. As you rightly said, we should use the Bible because God has the final say. God is the ultimate person in our lives. He is that person who never fails us. So you should always struggle in your little ways to bring up a child in a God-fearing way, because this is going to sustain that child even till their old age. So when we talk of purposeful parenting, we want to look at mindfulness. Of course, mindfulness plays a very, very key or a very, very crucial role in parenting. This is how parents are going to be how parents are going to interact with their children. Of course, mindfulness also creates a very deep connection and a more effective interaction measure for parents and their children. So, Madam Elive, maybe you want to tell us why is mindfulness important in parenting? Why should parents be aware? Why should parents know that they have to be mindful while bringing up their children?
What is mindfulness there for? When we talk about mindfulness, just like the word goes, we talk about the mind. What is in the mind that parents need to take care of? They need to take care of the emotions. And when we talk about emotions now, looking at purposeful parenting, I came up with some values. That if you follow the values, you will definitely be coming to mindfulness. Now I look at the first value to be establishing a clear expectation of your children. Now, if you establish a clear expectation of your children, you are being mindful, you are being emotional there. This is what I want them to do. You discuss it with them. Now, the second part about it is not just establishing a clear expectation, but now there should be an effective communication. Now, I'll be wanting that everybody should be up at 6:30, so that we can all do our chores, and by 7:30, we are going to the bath or going to school. That is your effective. You have established your clear rules. Now, that rules cannot be done, cannot be implemented without you communicating effectively to the children. I don't just want you to get up, but I want you to get up so that we'll be fast in doing this and this, so that we go to school early. Then there should be this positive reinforcement. Your idea is that people should get up at 6:30. Now somebody gets up at 6 o'clock. Hey, you see, John got up at 6 o'clock. That was beautiful. You know, the alarm did not even ring and you were up. John is happy that he did that consciously, without mommy getting John up, or without the alarm getting John up. Now, at the end of this, you are teaching them a life skill of being time conscious, which is our problem today. Now, remember, we started from establishing clear rules. Now you do effective communication to see that those clear rules are being implemented. Now you go for positive reinforcement. Who does better, you encourage. And at the end of the day, you give them life skills. With that, you will see that mindfulness will just be a piece of paper that you pick every day and say, okay, this is part of me.
Yes.
And the children will grow better.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to contribute to that, every child needs that encouragement from their parents, no matter how small, whatever they are doing. Once you see your child making a positive move, you should be able as a parent to encourage this child, because that is a push for them to do better. When we talk of maybe we are setting these expectations of in a purposeful way, that's you bringing up your child in a purposeful way. What are the expectations you put in place? So maybe Madam Dakwe, you want to share with us how can parents, how can mothers especially, because mothers tend to spend more time with children, mothers connect more with children because of the time they spend with these children. So how can you encourage mothers out there to establish how can they establish their expectations towards bringing up these children?
Okay, what I can say to mothers bringing up children is that, look in the community of today, you see a lot of delinquency, you see a lot of problems, but you can say for any society to be a society that is made up of good children, it all depends on the home, and that home depends on the mother. Because the mother that takes care of those children, I can say 80 to 90%. And that mother depends on the mother's parenting style. So when we talk on mothers bringing up children, expecting the best of that child, it depends on how the mother is using which quality or which style on the child. Okay. When I talk of parenting style, we see that there are about 4 of them. And all of them are good. We have to moderate the one we are using at a certain stage. We can see you are that of authoritarian parents. It's a good parenting, but it's not good for children of a certain age, like adolescent. When a child is still small at infancy stage, you can see that it's good to use that type of parenting, because that child knows nothing from the left or right. So you need to put rules and you impose children to follow. But now the child is growing up to adolescent, or it's already a child that is at a teenage age, entering adolescent, and you know they are coming with some changes, emotional changes in them. They have hormonal changes. They have things that they don't understand themselves. We term it adolescent crisis. Now you come with that type of parenting, authoritarian parenting. You are coming to cause more problems on that child. So what the parent needs to understand is that at that stage they need a democratic parenting, where they understand the child, the needs of the child. They put situations on the table, they dialogue as one. So if we don't understand our children, their needs, and meet them on time, it will create chaos in the home. So as parents, especially mothers, we need to know what is expected of our children and at what time. We need to know that there are some needs that children need from us parents, that if it's not provided, they'll go out and receive from peers. And I tell you, the peer will not give them the right advice. You may have your adolescent girl in the house. As a mother, you are afraid to teach that child sex education. And the social media giving them whatever they can give. There are friends out there giving them whatever they can give. So if parents shy away from this education, what do they expect from their children? So I'm calling on mothers to look into the needs of their children, what is expected of them to do at the appropriate time. And above all, we should identify our potentials in our children. They have inborn abilities from birth. It is a place of a mother to identify those abilities, nurture them, mold them to become the better version of themselves. I bet you it's not what I wish to be in future that I must impose my child to be that which I want to be. But rather, let me look into the gift of that my child. Let me look into the potentials of that my child. Let me develop life skill in that my child, so that the child will grow to be the best of the version in the community. As we are talking about mindfulness, if a child is doing what is the child is not pleased doing, maybe the child is doing what the parent want him or her to do, it will end up stressing that child. Whereas if the child is doing something that is inborn, something the child loves, I tell you, that child will manage the stress attached to it. So it is a place of parents, especially mothers, to identify the needs of their children, to identify their abilities, to work to cooperate with the children, moderate what is not correct, and encourage that which is correct. That's using positive reinforcement, so that the children should be the best version of themselves.
Okay.
For if the home is well managed, the society will be a better one.
Thank you very much for that one. If the home is well managed, of course the society is going to be a better one. Let's keep that in mind. And maybe Mr. Luma, you want to share with us some of these expectations, or how you establish some of these expectations for your children, maybe in school. Maybe what do you do? What are some of those things that you do to establish these expectations for parenting?
I want to appreciate my panelists. They have really expatiated so much on this topic. I want to say that the key in parenting, as we are talking about mindfulness, we must be mindful of our attitude. Because children take a lot of, they imitate. They tend to imitate or emulate so much what they see or what their peers or their parents are showing them. So modeling, you will want to implement modeling. You want to be mindful of the way you talk, even when there are situations that need you to be, to be angry, the way you are responding, the way you are handling anger, the way you handle your friends, the way you handle your neighbors, the way you handle even the kids themselves. So role modeling is one of the key factors that we should be mindful of, because if we are actually mindful of our behaviors towards the kids, then we will be able to carefully select the choices we make. We'll be able to select the kind of behaviors we want to portray, because we are mindful of the fact that these kids, they see and they easily emulate or copy what they see. So you want to be mindful of the character you are showing your kids at home. You want to be mindful of the way you dress. You want to be mindful of the way you are talking. You want to be mindful with the way you are even relating with other people. Because just like the previous panelist said, children will learn what they see on social media. If you fail to teach them at home, they will learn it via any other platform. So mindfulness, being mindful of our attitude or character, is the most fundamental tool we can use in parenting our children. And this does not only limit itself only at home. It goes way even right into school campuses. The way sometimes you realize that if a teacher is very impolite, you realize that the learners or the students will start copying. Some of them will begin to copy those attributes or traits that the teacher possesses. If the teacher is not mindful of role modeling, this teacher will fall into the hole of becoming, instead of inspiring children to become better human beings, he or she will be inspiring them to become terrible in the society. So role modeling is something we want to look after.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate all the mothers out there that struggle to bring up their children in a very dignified way. I appreciate mothers that will always see their child doing something, and you're not going to spare that child when you know it's not right. You see, they always say, no, it's a child, she can wear whatever she wants, she's still a child. When she grows up, she might learn the etiquette of dressing, and she will not dress like that. I bet you all of this starts from bringing up your children from a very tender stage. Those children retain these things very easily. So mothers should always try as much as they can to bring out the best out of their children, to show the best of attitudes to these children, because whatever you do to a child while she's a baby, or he's a child, or he's a small boy, once they grow up, they are going to retain those things, and they're going to do it, and obviously it's going to backfire on you. And just a follow-up to what you said, Madam Elive, you talked of key life skills. So maybe you want to mention to us some of these key life skills that purposeful parenting aims at teaching children, what parents want their children to learn that will help them in the long run.
I'll come back to the parents. There are things that we as parents should know. I'll come back to a great psychologist, Hadwood Gardiner, who spoke about 9 intelligence skills. That intelligence is not just by knowing mathematics. Intelligence is not just by knowing language, but you have other aspects of intelligence which he measures.
Okay.
Now, if we as parents do not understand that there is a child who understands aesthetics and beauty, the child likes to paint, the child knows how to decorate the house. That's another part of intelligence, which we as parents should encourage. It's a skill. The child is logical. She thinks logically. Before you want to say something, the child says, "Mommy, I think that this is what you want to say." You're like, "The picking girl witch." No, that is an aspect that we need to discover in them and then probe it to come out. Now remember that after knowing all of these aspects of intelligence, there is something Brenton Bruner said in the ecological therapy, in the ecological theory, which he said, the ecology, you have the immediate family, you have the community, and then you have the world at large. Now we need to know at each pair where we come in, what is our influence, what are the skills that the children need to learn. These little skills will spur out the moment we can identify them. Children should know that in the morning, if I get up, I need to brush. We as parents, the first call in the morning, "Mommy, neighbor, cast something." As you jump on your bed, you are not in your bath. Your child knows that anybody who calls for me in the morning is to jump from my bed and attend to that child. Now, it is our duty as parents, as mothers, to be able to train them. Boblin said that there is this attachment theory by Boblin. We said that you are more attached to that person whom you can explain and express yourself. Now, children can explain and express themselves to their mothers because mothers have given them more than 20 hours of their 24 hours in a day. Take note. Now, these psychologists did not come from space. It's out of experience that they came up with these theories. And we should be able to make use of the theories. Now, if you are attached to your child will look at you as a model. There's this role modeling. That's the person that the child sees more. That's the person that the child wants to copy from. I'm learning from the best. My mom is the best. You cannot convince my child that I'm not a good cook. No, you cannot. So that's how children look at. So we should be able to pick the skills that are very important, that are lifelong skills. It is very difficult to hear a child, you say you are correcting a child in class and the child say, "Madam, I'm sorry." No, it's difficult. The child will look at you to your eyes just because that sorry was not bought when they were children. That apology aspect was not bought when they were children. So it is our duty to go back to that first cycle according to Bruner. That inner circle, parents, children, father, and then go back. We don't surely pray back. We don't surely pray in the morning. Everybody gets up. Everybody is too busy. Let us go back to those skills. If we are strong today because of those, they'll beat you up. Come and say the rosary. They'll beat you up in the morning. In the evening, come and gather. Let's pray. The beating was an aspect of correction. But now we'll look at it differently. So please, let's go back to those little things. I'm sorry. Please, can I take your this? I took it because you're my sister. No. We share bond, we don't share things.
Exactly.
If you're taking my things, you should be able to say, please, let's buy those words. Please and I'm sorry, I'm into those 2 words. Because they can break walls for you, just like they can build walls for you.
Exactly.
Parenting is an aspect of being intentional.
Just to say something, add something to what you said about apology and forgiveness. Lydia, please and I'm sorry. Those are very hard words. Like, I met a 1 year plus, a child of 1 year plus, and just imagine as small as that child is, she finds it difficult to say, "I am sorry," or "Auntie, please for this thing." And I asked the mom, "What are you doing? What is happening to this child?" This child is too young to forget this kind of ethics, to not have this kind of ethics, because growing that child from 1 year and the child finds it so difficult to say, auntie please, auntie good morning, auntie excuse me. No, the child knows everything is just by force, and parents should be very careful. Children, their cognition is very, very wide. They tend to retain a lot of things. I say this always because it affects children in the long run. Maybe we can say, no, that one has a small kid, 1 year, no, nothing. That's what most parents, yes, that's what most parents say. That one has small kid, no, nothing. But I bet you these children retain all of these things, and they know it's not good, because once a child does something and you frown at that child, the child understands that. Even a baby of 2 months understands that, no, what I've done, my mom is not pleased or my dad is not pleased. So parents, please, let's try to, mothers, you spend more time with your children, please try to curb them from this bad attitude. It's better for that child to hate you for telling them or for correcting them outrightly. It's important so that they know that what the things they are doing are wrong things. And Mr. Luma, maybe
Magdalene, let me just get into something.
Okay.
There is a simple way for me to correct you with an attitude.
Okay.
You may just come to the kitchen, maybe you pick up a mango and you're eating. Who gave you that mango? Mommy, I just took it and I'm pulling it from your hand to put it in the pit.
Exactly.
I'll throw it in the dustbin, in the trash can. Mommy, why did you throw it? There's no response for it. Right? When you do it again the second time, I pull it from you. I'm not beating you, I'm pulling it. And then everybody who comes to say, please, mommy, can I have this mango I give?
Yes.
Because you did not say, please, there's no mango for you. I don't bother about your faces you put. Luma, you can bear me weakness, I'll bother it not. You cry and then tomorrow you will learn to say please. And if you don't learn, we'll continue till you learn.
It's very important. I like intentional parents like that. Because some parents will say, no, na small pikin. Exactly. You should not spare the rod and spoil that child, because just imagine you let the child go, say, okay, it's the first time you can go. The second time that child is still going to do the same time, the child will be like, no, mommy will understand.
No. Remember that repetition is the mother of studies. If you keep repeating an activity, behaviorists said that there's something you keep doing, and that is what will remain in your cognition.
That's right.
It reminds you that this is what I've been doing. I've been taking, and mommy has not been shouting. There's no need for a please. No. What you do repeatedly remains in you. That it becomes an attitude from a behavior.
Thank you very much for that addition. And Ms. Saluma, maybe you have a few key life skills or you want to share with us?
Definitely, I was just thrilled with what my panelist said, that she would remove the mango from the child's hand
and throw it.
Put it in the dustbin. And it's amazing because you don't say anything and the child just watches through action. You go down to what I was talking about, modeling.
Yeah.
So she is indirectly talking to the child, even though not verbally. So, all right, let's come to the life skills that we can imbibe into our children. I would say cooking.
Okay.
I was surprised. One of my friends, she cooked a meal, and at some point I could not hold it. I just said I was fine. But then the truth is that this lady was so lacking in cooking stew. The stew was as sour as anything you can imagine. So I could not hold it. So I think that one of the skills that we should imbibe into our children, which we will help them, is cooking. It's gradually missing in the society. You watch Kinde, you realize that most people are going for fast food, most people are going for yogurt, anything fast. The world is becoming like a microwave. Anything fast is what many people are going in for. But we need to come back to where our own grandparents, our great-grandparents, what they taught us. In my culture or background, they say if grandmammy cook chop and then you know lick pan, it means say you know they like the chop.
Exactly.
So you didn't lick the pan because the chop is sweet. So if it's good, it's necessary. It is of importance that we should bring back our children to learn how to cook, and not just cooking, but to be patient in cooking good food. Some people are making their life out of cooking.
Of course.
Some people have built houses. Some people have been able to sponsor their kids through school just because they were cook. So I want to say that we should bring back our children to these lifelong skills. Cooking is a very good aspect to it.
Okay.
And also, we should also be abreast with what is current. If you are going to be a parent who teach skills to your children, you should learn new things. You should learn what is trendy. You should learn what is relevant in the child's age. Because right now, most people are doing baking and all of that. So teach their children these things. Pastries. Let them know. Because tomorrow, in one way or the other, it can actually serve as an income generating aspect in their life. I used to like what my proprietor used to say, that not be all na go succeed through pen pushing. So everybody is struggling. No, let my child go to school. Schooling is good. I no hard feelings against it, but if we can imbibe into our children's mind the desire, the zeal, the passion to learn something, here comes now my school to solve this problem. Bright beginnings. We are talking about STEM education. Hands-on, minds-on. Because we believe that children learn through practical repetition. And if these skills are driven into them, then they become wonderful individuals. Look at tailoring. The people who used to sew back then, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago, if they sew you suit here, you will be very, very, you look good on it. But if everybody is just going towards academics, then who will be doing the basic things that we need in life? So I want to strongly recommend that cooking, tailoring should be something that is a culture in our society.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Luma. And of course, we are talking of lifelong skills. I also want to talk of adaptability, because I think these are one of the basic lifelong skills every child should be taught to be able to grow or to be able to live with life's uncertainties. Today you might live in a mansion, tomorrow you are going back to the slums. Treat your children to be able to know that today I can have 100,000 and tomorrow I'm back to nothing. That's how life is. They should be able to adapt to whatever situation they find themselves. Some children are very spoiled such that they tend to mock at their friends for not being able to afford what they have. And you know, this thing plays on the psychology of these children. Their parents will say, no, it's not their fault that they were born like that with a golden spoon and all of that. But then, all those born with a golden spoon, they all had a humble beginning. That mansion did not just find itself there. Maybe your parents worked for it, your grandparents worked for it, your generation has been working for it. You should not make others feel bad because you have too much. Be able to adapt to every environment, every community you find yourself. It's very important. It's very, very important. Mothers should take note of this. Mothers should be able to give their children some of these lifelong skills that will be effective in the long run, skills that from time to time they could always go back to for referencing, because they were well cultured throughout their growth before becoming also adults and having children as well, that they also have to lead these children. What do you lead from? Did you also have these preliminary rules of life? It's very, very important. And we also want to look at family values in purposeful parenting. Maybe you want to share with us some of the importance of family values in purposeful parenting.
Okay. Family values is very important in purposeful parenting, because any home is determined from the values you place. If you place a standard, that is what you expect of your children. And the Bible says, train a child in the way he should grow, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. Meaning the values you've inculcated in children from birth, that is what you expect of them when they grow older.
Okay.
Some psychologists like Sigmund Freud says, children, what they learn, early experiences determine our personality in old age. Yeah, so whatever we put down as principles, as values, even in the community, in the home, that is what we expect in the long run.
Okay.
So I'm calling on parents to lay down good principles, good values, so that our children will grow up to resemble that which they wish. When I talk of laying down good values or principles, it's just like you having an objective. You having a project, and you know that in the next 10 years, I want to achieve or accomplish this project.
Okay.
Putting a plan of nursing or raising children is already a project, and you want that in 20 years, 25 years, I want my child to be this.
Okay.
So that child can only become what you wish for, depending on the values put in place, and those values should be positive.
Okay.
Those values should be values that you know is attainable. You should not claim values of children you see on TV, the way they live their life abroad, to be the context where you are in Africa. So we place values in relation to our context. You place values in relation to your resources. You place values in relation to your potential also as a parent.
Okay.
Because I may wish something I don't have, but I know that in all, if I have what I know is positive, that can raise my child to be a humble child in the society, I think it's a good value.
Okay.
Nowadays we see children raising, parents raising narcissists, because we are there to see that we pamper our children, we give them all that it takes. A child will grow up to tell you, I cannot do this is not how I was brought up, my mother used to do this for me. A boy will take a girl home, wash my dry, I will never do it in my home. So things are, meaning the values that were placed for that child, they were not grooming that child to become a housewife. That's why you see people saying that there are many women out there, but we find it difficult to find a wife. Yeah, because of the values that were placed.
Okay.
So for me, I think that for us to raise children well or be a good parent is depend on the values we've put in place to see that those children become what we expect of them in the future.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. And Madame Elive, maybe you have something on family values you want to talk about.
I keep smiling while she was talking because I'm looking at family values in another light. There are some families that when you look around them, you look at the people who have professions, you see teachers, you see doctors, you see lawyers, and when you become a designer, it's a taboo. Did you get that? And now we have this conflicting effect between family values and lifelong skills. We are upholding a name of a family and not the skills that people need to have. Out of that, Cameroon is a developing country. We have developed countries with people who have names and they have skills, not in the professions we call the white-collar professions. You have people with good bakery. You want to talk about, you are going for AFCs. You have the Burger Kings. They are excelling in life. They are financially stable, not because of the white-collar job they have, but because of the skills, the lifelong skills they acquire. So now it is for us to sit and ask ourselves, what is the objective of these children I'm raising? What has been my objective as a parent? Because if we don't set objectives, all what we are saying here will water down to nothing. We'll not be having lifelong skills, we'll not be having family values because we don't have objectives. I'm so pleased with the church. When I say the church, I'm talking about the Mother Church, the Catholic Church. The church looked at it. She's comfortable with the colleges she's creating. The SASE, the Bishop Roga, you have good ex-student kind of thing. But now there is a need for people to have the technical skills. And now if you look at it, there's this convention school, you have Repacol, you have St. Pius the 10th. And I'm very happy when I went there. And I said to myself, there's no need, I don't have any hard feeling for sobers, but there's no need for my child to become a sober with no job and good jacket on without putting food on the table. So go to St. Pius and go and give me your food on the table with your overall, I'll be proud of you. Did you get it? Lifelong skills and family values. Now, those objectives should be set straight. Before now, our educational system did not give us this leeway to choose. Everybody knows that as I'm leaving the house, I'm going to study to become a doctor. How many doctors are there? What is the salary package? So now, it is left for us to put our card on the table without any joker. Because joker will come with the price will be so heavy. Sit with your children, have this dialogue. Let's be interactive. Because, okay, this is us as a family. We want to be interactive now. What do you like to become in future? Mommy, I like that carpenter. The way that he made that roof, you just tattoo your face. That child will not tell you what the child wants to become.
You are shunning the skills.
You are shunning the skills. You are shunning the intelligence in that child. You get. So now it is high time for us to keep our egos, for us to keep the frame the society knows what with, and to come back. Because in all of what we say, oh, this is my friend's son in the UK, he's a doctor, he has said that, he has bought this, he bought this aspirin for the mother, you too cannot buy it. No, they have different values. They had different lifelong skills they were trained for. People sacrifice to make their children become who they are. It is not just a sacrifice now, it is about dialogue. So that we get our points straight, so that we communicate our objective effectively for the children to know, and it places all of us on a platform where we don't doubt ourselves. We know where to reinforce. Okay, now, this is holiday period coming. Parents will hear there's this workshop here, there's this workshop here, there's this jamboree here. We will choose where they are dancing to go and get the dancing skill. It will end there, because when OH or ASLO comes, your leg will not bend again. You will not give the stars I used to give. So is that the skill? No, we should think about it. Let's discuss with them. They are not tabula rasas. Nobody is a tabula rasa. Everybody has intelligence in them.
Exactly.
So as young as they are, struggle to ask them what they want to do. I take an example. I have a son who dismantled my HP computer because I kept it that they would be typing there. He dismantled everything. I was asking the sister that go and bring me that computer, let me put it on so that people can start typing. I wanted to teach them typing. And the sister turned and looked at me and said, Mommy Jo, that computer is bad. Oh. I said, bad how? That the carcass are inside the uncompleted house. I shouted, I screamed, I got out of my bed. I said, I called for the son, he did not come. I forgot. I wanted him to be calm. He should forget about the thing so that we should have this discussion. He came one day and he was doing to me like this on the bed I was sleeping. He said, Mommy, that thing is funny, you know. I said, yes. He said, what was that thing? He said, remember that computer that they said I've spoiled now? I removed something, then I've connected some cables there like that, then I'm making fun. No, it's something to laugh, but I almost cried. But thank God that I'm a pedagogue and I understand childbearing. I understand children and their developmental stages. Yeah. I knew this was transition period. And it was just necessary for me to recognize that this man is not for Sase. This man needs to use his hand. This man needs to get these skills. Family values, I go back there. My father was a mechanic. He used his hands. My younger brother, English speaking, did everything English. We just told him to go and do marine. He refused. But today, he's making life out of it with those skills. So I'm just pleading with parents that it is necessary for us to get the skills. Although they are so good in physics, they are so good in chemistry, please, during their holidays, let them get a skill. It will help them in future. In the kitchen, let them work. Let me just finish this. My mom used to give us cocoyam. When she peels cocoyam, everybody likes ekwang. When she peels cocoyam, she will take her time to peel. And then they'll give you this 555, this bowl, this stainless steel bowls. They'll share it like that, the 6 of you. Put 6 greater. When we finish grating, that is where all of us will come again and tie. So that as you are tying, your hands are itching you. You are tying, your hands are itching you. It's not somebody who will tie and then you come and eat. So anytime that it gets ready, that is when we will eat. At the end of the day, each day we think about we are preparing equa, you just start thinking of your hand was itch. So we must learn those skills the hard way. There is no soft way of learning a skill.
Definitely, there is no soft way of learning a skill, and that's why parents are encouraged to let these children gain these skills. I always say this is for the long term. You might not see the need for that skill at the moment. You would say the child is too small to learn how to bake. The child is too small to learn how to do beats and all of that. But then the cognitive development of children plays a great role on that skill acquisition. So it's very, very important. Do not let the children stay at home idling around during holidays. 2 weeks enough time to learn something. And we want to look at some of these parents who are always stressed. some parents go through a lot of stress. Some of them are too stressed, some of them are overwhelmed. So how can these parents, how can we encourage these parents out there? Some parents just put the burden on their children. Their children suffer every pain in their life, every disappointment in their life. Once they get home from work, from hustle, it bounces back on the children, such that you see children in the house, once their mom is coming or their dad is coming, they are running into their rooms because they do not have this relationship, this one-on-one relationship with their parents. Their parents did not have time, or did not make out time, or did not see the importance of these at the time when the children were younger. And once they are already getting to 15 plus, they also have other distractions. They have their phones, they have friends, and they have other views of life. So how can we encourage some of these parents out there who still do not practice purposeful parenting to their children?
Not practicing purposeful parenting shows a gap. Now, the gap is not between just you, it's between you and your children, you, yourself, and even your job. Now, there is something they call work-life balance. Work-life balance has to do with you, your schedule, and the children you have, the family members you have. It's going to be something that is intentional. First of all, you're suffering from burnout. Now, if you're suffering from burnout, you intentionally need a therapist. Now, why do you need a therapist? It's not like you don't know that you have burnout. But now, how do you walk out of it so that we can re-strategize and re-energize to come back to our goals, to come back to the real you? The first thing is noticing that there's something that is not right with me. Because no matter how they cook at that point, there are symptoms that will show. You get irritated at everything easily. You don't get hungry. Fatigue is there. You are agitating over everything. Now, when you start seeing those signs, and you have somebody that you can talk to, being a psychologist, a counselor, it is very important you meet them. And if truly you have a friend, if I'm close to Mercy, I know her countenance, I know her temperaments. If I start seeing her going the other way, I'm like, let me call Mercy, and Mercy, we should talk. The talk must not be this serious. You could start it like a joke. Hey, Mercy, they ask you today, no sharp. When she hiss, it's a sign. It's a sign that the light is getting dim and we are going to the red light. I always tell my clients we have 3 lights that are very important. When you get to the green light, you're good. When you start moving to the dim light, which is yellow, it's not indicating good, and when you get to red, it's bad. So are you going to mash fire till we get to red, or you are going to slow fire till we come to green? So now it is just a matter of noticing when the symptoms are being alarmed. When you notice it, you get to her, maybe you talk to her, and like she like, oh, it's true, Sylvia, I've been feeling really overwhelmed. You know, with this school fees thing, I'm not done with paying school fees, because those are the things. My mom is asking me money from this side. I need to do this, my own thing, and then my pay package is not even much. Now remember that you're not going to solve all the problems in this world. You're going to solve some, and for the sake of your mental stability, let the rest be. What you cannot solve does not belong to you. Trust me. I always go for my plan B. I tell myself that if I cannot solve this one, then it means that it doesn't belong to me. Let me get to plan B. Plan B means that stay quiet.
Okay, thank you.
When you stay quiet, it gives you a calm mind. Now, there is this aspect where you talked about mindfulness. I like meditation. Not meditation like we go for morning devotions. And there's something they call meditation in Peace Initiative. I did Peace Initiative in Cote d'Ivoire. They do peace out. Peace in, peace out. Like if you have peace in you, there'll be peace outside with these Buddhists. Now there's this time you sit alone. We don't sit alone. When you sit alone, you want to think about all the problems in this world. Now when you sit alone, you behave as if there's just a blank slate in front of you, connecting yourself to the supernatural. You realize that if you do that once a week, There are things that will not stay in your heart. There are things that will not stay in your mind. Firstly, understand you have a problem. Secondly, be able to call whoever can help you sort the problem out. Thirdly, have a good support system. Fourthly, you see your children, it is not all day that you have to cook. But there are days that you go out for family lunch. Not in a very expensive restaurant. No, your financial strain. The essence of it is not that you should be full, but the essence of it is in that milieu, we can talk about things that on a regular note we'll not talk about it. Mommy, you see when you shouted at me that day that I wanted to tell you my truth, but that the way you shouted, I could not tell you. You know, you're saying it now jokingly, and the message is going. But in all what we do, I plead with parents that we should take our mental health seriously. Stress will always be there, but we should look at ways to navigate it so that we'll become better parents and we'll have a healthy mind in a healthy body.
Thank you very much, Madam Elive. And of course, as she said, parents should learn how to create a healthy mental health. It's a healthy mental state is very important, because once your mental health is not stable, you cannot function well. And maybe I'll just highlight some of the benefits of purposeful parenting. Some parents will be wondering out there, what is even the need for us to do these things? The children will still grow up whether we like it or not. And obviously the children, you know that some of these parents will always have their own viewpoints on everything. They'll always be going the other way. They'll always be leaving the lane. Of course, the benefits of purposeful parenting, because it enhances the emotional well-being of these children. It creates this self-esteem and confidence in them, improves social communication. It helps them communicate effectively and build deeper and stronger relationships out there. It creates strong cognitive development. They cultivate a critical thinking and problem solving skill, which is very important for their development in the community, in the society, even in the family. It's very, very important. Positive behavior too is added onto it. And for parents, of course, it gives you that deeper connection and trust with your children. Once you're purposeful and intentional about bringing up these children, you get deeply connected with these children, and it makes the family live a fulfilling life. Of course, if you can talk freely with your children, it means everything. There is nothing that is going to pass you by. You always be able to connect with these children and talk more with them. It reduces frustration and stress. Yes, some parents go through a lot of stress at their workspaces, social gatherings and all of that, but once your family is at peace, you always know you have a safe place at home. Whatever stress you go through in the workplace, you're always going to go home and it's going to be a good one for you. You're going to be satisfied and confident when you move around. You know, okay, I have a family where I can easily talk with my children. I relate very confidently and very, very easily with my children, and it makes life easy for us. You also create a family, a positive atmosphere, and of course, lifelong positive outcomes where the family can all sit together and talk about things even when it gets to the most difficult points. It is at this point we're going to be drawing the curtains on the program today, and before we take leave of you, we just want to hope our discussions on purposeful parenting and building a strong bond between parents and children has helped you today, and you're going to be practical in your families today to create these very healthy bonds in your homes. And before we also go, I want to thank our panelists for coming today. I want to begin with you, Madam Sylvia. Thank you so much for coming. Mr. Luma, it was a pleasure to have you. And of course, Madam Dakwe, thank you so much for coming, and thank you all for your very, very insightful contributions on our talking point today. We hope it's going to help a family out there, it's going to help someone out there. I also want to say a big thanks to our broadcasters for making it a successful program. Thank you very much, JC. And we say stay tuned to Divine Mercy Radio Television for more interesting programs. I've been Magdalene Wundo. See you next week.